It's a new era for rugby league in Wales with a new national coach and a big challenge in his first game for Iestyn Harris as Wales take on England here at the Brewery Field in Bridgend. And it is a young and inexperienced Wales side. 5 debutants for Iestyn Harris, with Elliot Keir at fullback on his debut, Ashley Bateman, another of the debutants, Rhys Williams, the wingers, Rhys Griffiths in the centres, Anthony Blackwood, Lloyd White, another of the debutants, and Ian Webster. And in the forwards, Jordan James had some experience alongside Neil Budworth, also making his debut, Gil Dudson, Craig Kopczak, Ben Flower and Geraint Davis. And on the bench, Ian Watson, the most experienced of the Welsh players, Lee Williams, Ross Divorti also making his debut, and Matt Barron, and the coach is Iestyn Harris. And it's a new look England side as well. Well, changes with Paul Sykes at fullback, Tom Briscoe making his debut on the wing, Michael Shenton, Sean O'Loughlin in the centres, Peter Fox, Sam Tompkins also making his debut, and Richard Myler. In the forwards, Adrian Morley captains the side, Scott Moore, Gareth Carvell, Gareth Ellis, Ben Westwood and Sam Burgess. And on the bench, Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, Mick Hyam, Danny Tickle and Chris Bridge, and the coach is Tony Smith. And what a challenge is for the Welsh team. 11 players withdrew from the original squad. John Devereux there, the team manager, Ben Flower, the team captain. So players who've really only just tasted the game with the Celtic Crusaders this season have been picked to face this England side. But it's also an England side with some young players getting their opportunities, the likes of Sam Tompkins, Tom Briscoe. So it's an exciting opportunity for many of the players out there on the pitch, and Terry O'Connor here to share the excitement this evening.
And you look at the Wales side, and I was watching them in the warm-up and they looked nervous as they were looking up at the England side. You look at the size of the forwards in this English pack. They're big, they're determined. Wales have really got to keep the discipline. They've got to restrict the yardage, and they've got to make sure that they try and complete the set to 6. They've just got to keep turning the ball behind England and challenging them to bring the ball back.
It'll surely be a damage limitation exercise for the Welsh. It was 74-0 to England last year when these two sides met. Of course, England then went off to the World Cup and had a mixed campaign, losing 3 of their 4 games over there. But since then, players have been jettisoned, and a new look side is taking shape, and a side that inflicted a 66-12 defeat on the French in their last outing. So it's a side which has potential, but is it good enough to win the Four Nations tournament? England will be taking on the French, the Australians and the Kiwis, the Aussies and the Kiwis flying into Heathrow this morning to prepare for the tournament. And this is England's chance to prepare for the tournament against the Welsh team. Now we'll have the national anthems, which will be performed by Rob Allen and the Abercynon Male Voice Choir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Welsh National Anthem.
Rob Allen doing the honours here this evening in Bridgend. And it is a big night for these two sides, and of course they'll have a quick photo taken. A souvenir of the occasion for these England players. And we were talking earlier, Terry, about some of the opportunities out there. OK, Tony Smith has named 2 squads. He named his squad for this game. There's also the squad for the Four Nations tournament with 9 players, or the Leeds and St Helens players absent this evening, being given a week off. So for the likes of Tompkins, Briscoe, this is a great opportunity, isn't it?
Of course it is, Bill. It's about getting on that big stage, playing in international rugby league. You can't get any higher. You do all the hard work in the off-season to get here, you play well during the season, and you get rewarded come the end of it. And I remember Sam Burgess in 2007 when he got given the chance to play international rugby league, and he really had a fine test series against the New Zealand side. And I'm really looking forward to some of the youngsters, Sam Tompkins, Tom Briscoe and Richie Myler.
Thierry Alibert is the referee, and the last time that England played on Welsh soil, he was the man in charge. That was July 2001 in Wrexham, when England were made to struggle for that victory. They were 23-10 down at half-time. They went on to win by 42 points to 33. That was the last time they were in Wales. Monsieur Alibert gets us underway then. Paul Sykes getting the game underway. And it's going to be interesting just to see how fired up this Welsh side surely is this evening. These young players, many of whom have only just been introduced to Super League, now being thrown in the international deep end this evening here at Bridgend.
Feeling the full weight there of that shot from Adrian Morley, but very important for the Welsh side. Complete these early sets, get a feel of the game, get through the set, decent kick, and then put the likes of Paul Sykes playing at full-back under a little bit of pressure.
We talk about youth, and I'm sure Iestyn Harris will have told his players that he was just 19 years of age when he was introduced to International Rugby League in 1994, and he went on to star for Wales in the 1995 World Cup. So an illustration of what can be done. Wales just looking to complete this first set of 6, and the kick, and then the knock-on. The kick from Webster, and Webster was cursing when he put that kick in, but Sykes has fumbled it.
Well, that's the best start that Wales could have made to the game. They've completed the set, they've come up with a kick, they put pressure on Paul Sykes, and he's fumbled it, and obviously give Wales the head and feed now.
Well, I didn't want to tempt fate, but that's exactly what the Welsh side needed. Paul Sykes, we saw the last time he played for his country, probably not the greatest game in his career overseas. I think played in 3 different positions in a half of rugby league, and that just shows there's a bit of nerves out there, even in a side as good as England.
Ben Flower, the captain, and it wasn't tackled, he is now, as Carvell gets to grips with him. But here is an opportunity for the Welsh. It's Gil Dudson now. Dudson with the second tackle in this set of 6. Now here's Webster. Webster's pop pass. It's a good pass as well to Lloyd White, and White is held just short of that try line. What an opportunity this is for the Welsh, and they're going for it on the short pass, and it's Kopczak, I think. Is it? It's going to be a video ref call. Ian Smith is the video ref. Craig Kopczak celebrating, but the referee wants to know if there was obstruction. And but as Kopczak got Wales off to the perfect start.
What a confident start, Bill. Never say that. So they've come out and they want to play. You can see that Budduff, he just pumps the ball. Kopczak, he gets the ball, he hits, he spins. There's no obstruction, he knows where the try line is, and he grounds that ball.
It was Blackwood who was on the fringe of that, but he wasn't involved.
No, what a start by this Wales side. Craig Kopczak knew exactly what he had to do there. He had to hit, he had to spin, and he had to ground that ball.
Well, have Wales got the start that they surely could only have dreamt of? They have. Craig Kopczak gets his first try for Wales, winning his 5th cap this evening, the Bradford Bulls player. And that is a stunner. The error has been punished.
Well, we said at the beginning of the game, they've got to complete the set to 6. They've completed the first set to 6, and they've put the kick in, and Sykes come up with that mistake. From that, it was just a simple play. Kopczak hit the ball, he hit, he spun, he gets out of the tackle, and he grounds that ball to get the first try for this Welsh side. What a big start. Iestyn Harris will be made up with this effort.
Kopczak's only Super League try this season came against St Helens in a Bradford win that was a stunner, and that try was a stunner. Now Lloyd White with this conversion attempt from way out wide. He's missed it. Gave it a good shout, but what a start from Wales, Brian.
Great start, I think. I believe England are going to come back into this game. That'll probably wake them up a little bit, but we get a little bit of a look at what Wales are going to try and do. They don't want to spend too much time battling with the tight five that England have got, the likes of Carvel, Morley, Moore, Ellis, Westwood. They're going to try and shift it. They're going to try and get at Tompkins on one side and get at Myler on the other side. And if they don't score on that play, they're going to certainly go and have a go like they did on the next play there. So watch out for Tompkins, Myler, and the people either side of them making a few tackles tonight if Wales get the ball.
You have to say that a lot of these England players might be a little bit rusty. They haven't played, certainly the case of Richie Myler hasn't played since the end of July, and Gareth Ellis likewise, with West Tigers not making the playoffs. He hasn't had a great deal of action lately.
Well, Bill, there's 13 of the players that have not played involved in the playoffs, so a lot of them are a bit ring rusty, but I'm sure that they've been training hard and they'll want to put in an 80-minute performance.
But England, after just 3.5 minutes, trailing by 4 points to 0. Craig Kopczak, the try scorer. And that'll have really lifted the spirits in this Welsh side. This Welsh side, they were a pretty fired-up bunch, as we were saying earlier on. They've immersed themselves in the Welsh culture locally, although a lot of these players, of course, are homegrown, very much homegrown. Now here is Peter Fox. Took an age to field that ball, but then made good ground when he did.
Now this is where they really have to concentrate. They've got to be dominant in the contact. They've got to really try and turn the players onto the back. This England side, they're big, they're strong, and they'll be looking for likes of Adrian Morley to lead from the front.
Here is Morley. All that international experience for Great Britain and for England, winning his 10th England cap this evening, but this is the first time he's ever played against Wales. Here's a man who has played for Wales, Gareth Carvel, now turning out for England. Scott Moore. Here is Myler. Myler, a great effort against Wales last season, got 2, went even better against the French in June, and hoists that kick. Now then, the chase is good, but it's well taken. Wales then dealing with that first set of 6 from England comfortably. Here's Elliot Keir. Keir has lost the ball though, and Westwood will get it out, and they're in the corner with Tompkins, and there the error from the fullback, and Tompkins there to finish it off, and no doubt from referee Thierry Alibert instantly awarding that try to Sam Tompkins on his debut. Super League's Young Player of the Year, coolly strolling in for that try. It's a cruel, cruel world, and the Welsh have just discovered that.
And when you're up against a real tough, dominant side, they really struggled. England restricted the yardage from this Wales side, and it's the mistake coming out. You've got to make sure you hold on to that ball. When you go into the tackle, you've got to make sure you've got a good grip of that. England, they're so dominant, they will look to force that mistake. And you can see Elliot Keir just loses the possession. Westwood picks up, and it's a simple try for Sam Tompkins on his debut.
So Wales quickly brought back down to earth there, and Tompkins, who's had an excellent season with the Wigan Warriors side, got 15 tries in his 27 appearances for them. As I said, got into the Super League Dream Team, also got the Young Player of the Year award, so has an opportunity to put a marker down this evening.
It's a great pity, that, Bill, that the Welsh conceded a try under those circumstances, because the ball was fielded superbly by Rhys Williams. They just needed, didn't they, to get through to the back end of that set.
Paul Sykes has the goal-kicking duties this evening. There's no nailed-on goal kicker in this England team, although Myler is a pretty good exponent of that art, but it's Sykes who's got this one. And can he land it from right on the touchline now? First opportunity. I think he's dragged it wide. He has. The score's a level, though. Wales taking that early lead with Craig Kopczak's try, but then the error, and punished by Sam Tompkins, who gets an England try on his debut.
I think a bit of what Tony Smith's going to look from Sam Tompkins and Richie Myler today is the combinations they get going with Ellis and Westwood, fellas that are likely to be in the starting 17 for this for the forthcoming Four Nations. So seeing how the forwards run off these 2 ball players is going to be very, very interesting. I think something Tony Smith is going to be keeping an eye on.
Myler underneath the restart. Here is Gareth Carvel. He made 3 appearances for Wales, Carvel, but has now defected to England. And on the back of a big season for the Warrington Wolves, one of the contributors to their Challenge Cup victory.
And it really is a massive English pack, and if you've got the likes of Sam Burgess as a loose forward running behind Carvel and Morley, and the Welsh are going to be under the pump tonight just to hold on to that movement going forward.
I tell you what, Morley felt that one from Gil Dudson. It was a good hit.
And that is exactly what you want. You want the enforcer to be met by another enforcer, and that was a real big shot.
It's a good touch finder from Scott Moore.
Well, England quite happy to just turn this Wales side round, knock it into touch and try and force another error. But that was a real good shot. That's trying to lift Gil Dudson, really trying to lift his Welsh teammates. And you can't put a bigger shot, Bill, on the opposite than Adrian Morley.
And we spoke about how important the kicking game is going to be for England in the Four Nations. We've now seen Scott Moore kicking from that dummy half position and coming up with an exceptional piece of skill.
There's the Wales captain, Ben Flower, captain in only his 2nd international. That's a pretty quick rise to the top, but he's had great reviews from his Celtic Crusaders club after growing in prominence during the season. And here's Geraint Davis. Fluent Welsh speaker, Davis plays the ball. Jordan James lends a bit of experience to this side, James, and he's a real loyal servant to the Welsh cause. And the penalty given against Carvel.
You know what, you got to, the way Jordan James runs the ball wins him that penalty. He steams in, he's got no respect for what's going to happen to him physically, and I think it's the commitment he showed in that run that's got that penalty.
It's his 14th consecutive cap, Jordan James. His dedication to the cause that's often been hard work for Wales, certainly in recent times. That defeat last year in Doncaster, and that was preceded by a big defeat by Lebanon, but they're looking lively here. Here is Elliot Kerr. Unfortunately, he made that error because he's had a good end to the season for the Crusaders, and in fact been signed on a professional contract on the basis of his form. Here is Dudson now. Dudson, Webster, but Webster very quickly closed down. Scott Moore was all over him there. Kopczak again. Seeing plenty of space out there. Kopczak. Budworth fires the pass to Ben Flower, and Flower uses his strength to get close to that line. Budworth it is, trying a think. He's held, says the referee, and that'll be the turnover, says Thierry Alibert.
He was trying again, the Neil Budworth, but again, defensively, they didn't ask enough questions this Welsh side. They are trying to get to Tompkins. They see that he's a real threat, trying to get big man on little man in Craig Kopczak, who's been the first try scorer for the Wales side.
They've got to be looking for little wins throughout the set, and I think the Welsh achieved that in that movement. Hit, spin, find a good landing position and win that collision. There were some good signs in there. He just needed up to expand a little bit and challenge England more on that last play.
Little run from Peter Fox. Scott Moore now. Moore for Burgess. Sam Burgess, of course, on his way to continue his career in Australia with South Sydney. Scott Moore now. Moore. Shenton was looking for some support, but nobody there to keep the move going. And then Myler will hoist the kick. And well taken, again well taken by Rhys Williams. Dealt with that one well because it was spiralling away from him at one point.
And you've got to make sure you're committed on those plays. No matter whether the England attack are putting a bit of pressure on you, you've got to stay focused on where that ball is. And Rhys Williams done a fantastic job there.
Just 19 years of age, Rhys Williams, and a Warrington junior.
Yeah, he's a young fellow at Warrington. It's getting a lot of plaudits from in the reserve team this year. He scored some fantastic tries for the reserves, and a powerful guy when he's running from dummy half.
And he was the player of the tournament in the under-18s European Championships last year when Wales triumphed. That's the sort of talent that this Welsh setup have got. In fact, there's a big day tomorrow just down the road in Pencode when Welsh under-18s will be gathering and looking to make a name for themselves. There's plenty of talent here but it's raw as the kick comes in, and Sykes no trouble fielding that one.
And under no real pressure there, but this Wales side really do fancy the chances. You can see they're trying to get numbers into the tackle. They're getting off the line. Big Jordan James. There you go. That's what it's all about.
He went looking for Peter Fox, but fair dues to Peter Fox because he's still on his feet. It's Tom Briscoe, I beg your pardon. Briscoe it is, who's still on his feet and was still going.
Well, you want your senior players to come up with some big plays. Oh, and this Wales side, they've undone it now. They've given a penalty away. But Jordan James really trying to lift his teammates. But they've got to make sure they keep the composure and keep disciplined.
And they lost it there, conceding the penalty.
There was enough time in that tackle because these 3 guys in and he didn't hit the floor instantly. There's enough time for that team to backtrack the full 10 metres and get onside. You know, this is not the area of the field that the Welsh want to be playing. They need to be at the other end and doing a little bit more with it.
A few boos for Gareth Carvell there from the knowledgeable Welsh public. Morley. Good offload from Sean O'Loughlin, and now the ball fired out wide. Oh! And Briscoe couldn't quite get a hold of that one.
Richie Myler was just tempted by that play. Briscoe was free on the sideline. He's tried to hit him. He's put the ball over a number of players, but the referee deemed it was forward. You can see as he's taking the ball to the line. That's what Richie Myler does best, but on that occasion the ball went forward and Tom Briscoe was denied that try.
Back in action after what was building to be a pretty miserable season. Tom Briscoe had a serious ankle problem, kept him out for 4.5 months, but he's finished the season with a flourish and it's earned him this England place. 4 points apiece here. Solid start from Wales, and England just trying really to find their feet, which is what this game's all about.
And as long as they keep completing the set to 6, they'll build in confidence. But if they complete the set to 6 and play down that middle channel and control the ruck, that's where they'll start to build up that confidence, and as well, they'll be full of energy. You don't want to defend against a big physical pack like England have got.
Wales have put the ball down. Tompkins has picked it up, but the referee's saying we'll come back and have the scrum. Blackwood, I think, was the culprit.
Yeah, a little bit of movement from the dummy half position. The Welsh in a simple keep on going set. They're trying to get outside the big English pack. They don't really fancy, and shouldn't do really, taking on England right up the middle of the field. They're trying to work the way around. Lovely little bit of movement from the dummy half. I think it was the hooker who jumped from that position. A simple catch then could have got and gained some decent field position for the Welsh side.
Myler going across the field, deciding to take them all on himself. Myler then comes back again, and the pass ends up in Welsh hands, I think, after all that work. And Jordan James was there just in the nick of time, and he gets the plaudits of his teammates.
But Richie Myler really does need to take this line. He takes him when he's got options, but you can just see that Sykes loses that ball. But that is when Richie Myler is at his best. When he's got the ball, he's running at the defenders, he's looking for options inside and out. On that occasion, Sykes couldn't regather that ball.
The problem that arises sometimes in these games when you get a bit of a free run and you get carried away a bit, you know, you're getting a little bit more freedom that you get in a normal game, or that you will get in these upcoming four.
Whoa. Burgess, well, looking for a big hit there.
Or saying you get a bit more freedom, but what you've got to do is stick to what you've been asked to do by your coach. Don't get carried away. Don't get involved in playing again a game of touch and pass.
Well, Burgess was pretty high there on the full-back Elliot Keir, and Keir ducked underneath it, really. Now here's Rhys Williams. Budworth now qualifies on residential grounds. Neil Budworth has been in Wales for 3 years throughout the Celtic Crusaders' rise to Super League, despite his Wigan roots. Jordan James. That's the 5th tackle, just inside their own half, the Welsh.
He's outside.
Webster's kick is a good one, good deep one. And Sykes sees that one go dead. It looked as though it might just sit up in the in-goal area, but in the end it goes dead.
Webster will be happy with that. He's gone for distance, and you can see that the Welsh line have all reformed, they've all gathered. You can see that they're looking to try and control the speed now, and this is what they've got to do, condense the line and come up really quick.
This is the right end of the field for the Welsh to be defending in. Because the play the balls aren't quick, the English wingers can drop back. They went to the full end of the tackle count, then the wingers can drop back. So it needed to have a really accurate kick. Unfortunately, that's not the first penalty the Welsh have conceded, and you're just going to drop backwards into that try-line defence, probably at the back end of this set. The place not to be if you're a Welshman.
On the mark.
Kopczak, the culprit there as the penalty's conceded, but the kick finds touch on the halfway line for Wales, for England.
Go.
Here is Carvel now. Kopczak in there with the tackle, so was Blackwood for Wales.
Go.
Scott Moore and Morley now, and Morley again, they're standing up to him as his coach looks on. Moore now finds Burgess. Burgess is able to offload back to Moore. They keep it alive, and Tompkins, weaving run from Tompkins, and Tompkins looking for his second try, and he'll get it. And he left them trailing in his wake there, the Wigan youngster, with this leggy run of his. And a weaving run it was as well, to get him away from trouble. And Sam Tompkins, well, his first one was handed to him on a plate, but that one took a little bit more. And he showed the class that has made him the Super League Young Player of the Year.
Well, there's the penalty from Craig Kopczak. You could see that he wasn't in control of that tackle on Tom Briscoe. That's why the penalty was awarded. And again, it's just simple plays. Sam Burgess goes into the collision. He's turning, he's looking to offload. Then from a standing start, Sam Tompkins just gets the ball, he puts his foot down, and he has speed to go outside of the fullback, Elliot Kerr. He's one of the most dangerous players in Super League, Sam Tompkins. And again, it's just the strength with which this English forward seemed to have going into the collision. And Sam Tompkins, he does know where that white line is, and he goes in for the try.
So 2 tries already on his international debut, to add to a pretty prolific season with the Wigan Warriors for young Sam Tompkins, just 20 years of age. And now Paul Sykes, not bang in front of the posts, but as good as for him and this conversion attempt. And the first signs there of the Welsh defence being a little bit frail, as Tompkins fully exploited it. Sykes succeeds, and England, having been 4-0 down early on and a little bit rattled, ahead now by 10 points to 4. And it was a Wigan player, or it is a Wigan player, who's got both those tries for England so far, Sam Tompkins.
You know, and the Welsh have only got themselves to blame for that. They've conceded penalties unnecessary, and then they've dropped ball coming out of their own half, and that's the result of a couple of sets of English pressure and a few Welsh mistakes. They got to cut out these little mistakes. England, as of yet, haven't shown anything that's causing a whole lot of problems to the Welsh. It's the Welsh mistakes that are causing the problems.
I think that movement forward from Carvel, then Morley, and then Sam Burgess playing that loose forward. Wales have got to get 2 and make minimum of 3 into the tackle. They can't hold on to these guys on a 1-on-1 or even a 2-on-1. They've got to get bodies in and control that. The offload from Burgess absolutely killed the Welsh, and they just dropped backwards and left massive holes.
England looking to maybe step the pace up a little bit. There's certainly a bit more pace about them, but that's an offload from Burgess that didn't find the target that time. Burgess complaining that the ball was stripped.
Was it an offload? Was it a loose carry? I think the referee, Terry Alibur, said that was a loose carry by Sam Burgess.
So that's released the pressure, and Wales have it back with Geraint Davis. Davis, who figured prominently for Celtic Crusaders at the end of the season when they had all their problems with players having to go home. Here's the captain, Ben Flower. That's the 5th tackle. Now then, what's the Welsh kicking game like? It'll be Webster, surely. He'll put one across the field. No, they're going to run it. And then the kick comes in, and it's not a bad one from Elliot Keir. And the chase is a good one. They'll get the ball back. Well, that was impromptu stuff from the Welsh, but done with great enthusiasm, and it paid off for them.
Well, all this Wales side have got to do is build a bit of pressure. They're gaining in confidence. They're throwing the ball around. They're looking to attack. Every time they seem to get down here, they're looking again, and Thompson...
Time off.
Sorry, they're looking at getting... Tompkins on the right-hand side, looking at getting a Myler on the left. These are real big plays. Anthony Blackwood taking the ball to this big England side.
Okay.
So the goal line dropout, first of the game, and it's with Kopczak, the Welsh try scorer.
Wait. Go.
And here's Blackwood. Very nearly got on the end of that kick from Elliot Keir.
Second. Wait. Go.
Terry was absolutely right where he says that the Welsh are setting up good field position so they can exploit, in their minds, young Mylett and young Tompkins, who are probably 2-3 in out defending on the edge. If they stay in that field position, as I speak, the ball hits the floor. They've just got to stay down there and keep it simple. Hopefully, they can come up with a little bit more enterprise for the Welsh when they get in such decent field position. You could see then the fullback was clearly coming round the back into a decent hole, and the decision was simply wrong. Hit the wrong man with the wrong ball at the wrong time.
Yeah, the pass from Webster and Ben Flower looked daggers at him, in fact,
Wait. Okay.
because it
Out.
all went horribly wrong for the Welsh. Now they need to just restrict England's progress here. And here is O'Loughlin. It's Briscoe, I beg your pardon, who'll play the ball. Good strong run from Moore.
Who do you think, Brian, 24 minutes nearly into the game, will feel the pressure the most, the English or the Welsh side?
Well, I know why you're asking that question, because we probably expected England to be far ahead at this stage, but look, give them time, they'll work their way into it. If the Welsh can cut out the mistakes, they've got a chance of staying in this game. But I think at the moment, I think the Welsh are going to be blown a bit. Apart from that tackle there, they seem to be finishing on their backs a lot more, and England, once they speed this game up, they're going to cause awful problems for this Welsh side.
There's Burgess.
Side. Move. Go.
Myler
He's
now
outside.
with the kick, and that's out on the full. Well, there certainly will be a few cobwebs with Richie Myler, having not played since the end of July. And on the fringes at Salford in preparation for his big money move to Warrington. But that kick out on the full will not have pleased his coach.
Well, that's what this game is all about, though. It's about the English side just dusting off those cobwebs, as you mentioned, Bill, and finding a little bit of form, a little bit of rhythm. And for the Welsh, just need to make, I think, a little bit more sacrifice in the tackle, get 3 in, and just cause some frustration within the England ranks. They don't need to over-expand the play. They simply need to work through the sets and come up with a big play, maybe play 4, play 5, in good ball, in good field position. They're trying to get a little bit too adventurous at this moment, and it's not working for them. Every time they move the ball wide, it hits the floor.
Kopczak couldn't take that pass from Webster, so that's another Welsh error. And they're surely going to have to start paying for this.
And what they're trying to do, straight away, as soon as they get the ball, get Kopczak lined up against Tompkins just to run direct, pick him up straight at him. And you talk about the people who've got the energy. This Wales side have only made 43 tackles, yet England have made 74. So the energy is with Wales at the minute.
Well, they missed a few there because that's a good strong run. And immediately England are pressing inside the 40 as Sykes plays the ball. Now here's Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. Just on the field, the Harlequins player. Burgess now. Burgess again looking for the offload. Wales looking to wrap him up so he can't get that ball away, but only 3 tackles gone. An opportunity for Morley on the charge. Great ball from Morley for Hyam it was. Hyam plays the ball. Passes fired in, and a try for Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook just on the field, and the Harlequins man gets his 2nd England try, scored against Wales in Doncaster in that 74-0 win, and he's got on the score sheet already after just coming on the field this evening.
Just creates the mistake. Kopczak trying to get at Sam Tompkins, but it's the direct plays in and around the ruck by the big English forwards. And Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, he's just picked that hole in the middle of the sticks. He's run straight and he's run hard, and the Wales defenders couldn't stop him. Look at the size of the man.
The former Greenwich Admiral, who's gone on to great things with Harlequins, and I'm pretty sure there are a fair few members of the family just down below us in the stand, because they're always in good voice when Louis is around, and they've got every reason to be. And I'm sure he made a similar impact when he came on against Wales last season in Doncaster. He was only just on the field and got on the score sheet, and he's done exactly the same thing this evening with that close range effort, and Sykes will thank him for that. Bang in front of the posts. Should be another couple of points for England here. And Wales, well, these errors as expected, are being punished. Another one there, and they've conceded another 6 points.
Louis McCarthy, dynamic player to bring on, but another interesting substitution is Mickey Hyam called. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, rotating on about 30 minutes-ish into the game. Obviously, Scotty Moore's done very well in the early part of this match. Just soaked up a little bit of energy from that Welsh pack. Mickey Hyam, dynamic from that dummy half position. Great half break from Adrian Morley. Little ball back on the inside, and Mickey Hyam flew onto that short ball. So that speed and dynamic movement that Hyam has is a great asset, and a great timing of his substitutions from Tony Smith.
16-4 then England lead. England, of course, preparing for their Four Nations campaign. Kicks off next Friday against the French in Doncaster, and Wales preparing for the rugbyleague.com European Nations competition, and they've got a pretty tough challenge as well. They face Serbia at the Fortress Stadium in Smederevo, the Fortress Stadium. Well, that just about tells you all about what sort of game they can expect there,
That's
doesn't
a
it?
tough place to go.
Have you played there?
No.
Well, I tell you what, Yustinada's got a bit of problems. Probably his big go-to player early on in this half. Craig Kopchak has left the pitch. That will be a real big blow for this Wales side.
As you can see, England against France, 7:30 next Friday. Australia against New Zealand next Saturday, 7:30. The Aussies and the Kiwis already in the country. As Sykes hoists that kick. And actually, on the subject of the Euro Nations, it's already underway, in fact, with Italy playing Scotland this afternoon in Padua, and Scotland ran out winners by 104 points to 0 in that game, with Mick Nannin getting 40 points, 16 goals and 2 tries for Nannin. So Scotland getting their Euro Nations campaign off to a very profitable start. Meanwhile, here at the Brewery Field, so England ahead by 16 points to 4. Let's go down to the sidelines. Rod Studd. No Rod Studd. We'll get that in a moment. Meanwhile, Wales have a penalty for which they'll be very pleased, because that will relieve some of the pressure they have been under.
I think we might see a slight change in tactic now from the Welsh, that when you have a player like Mickey Hyam on the field, he is very, very dangerous with ball in hand, especially when he runs from the dummy half position. I think common sense dictates that you might want to spend a little bit of time running at him and causing him some problems.
This is great play from the Wales. Elliot Keir on the end of that nice passing move. Lloyd White involved as well. Big raps about Lloyd White as well. And Ian Watson out on the field, and Watson's pass finds Webster. Webster is found by the England defence. That ball's come up.
And there's a classic point that I was going to mention. You have Mickey Hyam then directly in front of the halfback. Just send a big prop forward onto him and make him do some work. Come out with a real hard cut-out pass. And who was the man in defence stood in front but Gareth Ellis? He's played with one of the best sides in the world of rugby league, the West Side. He knows how to defend, and you're sending crash balls at Gareth Ellis. Just smarten up a little bit and send him at Mickey Hyam. He's not as big and he's not as experienced in defence.
But this is what they can't do. Jordan James going a bit too high on that occasion. Again, relieving the pressure. Seem to be getting back into the game, but now they've got to defend again in their own half.
Go.
We can go down to the sidelines now. I think we've found Rod Studd. Rod.
Still here, Bill. Just to reiterate what Terry was saying quite rightly, he was right to say that Craig Kopchak has left the field for Wales. More problems, a knee injury. His right knee heavily strapped and heavily iced right now, and his return would have to be questionable.
Well done.
So that is a blow for the Welsh. One of their more experienced players, as England give the ball a bit of width, but too much width. And Fox couldn't deal with that, and he looks inside and just wonders what he was supposed to make of that.
And again, this England side looking to throw the ball around, and Fox just couldn't get to that ball. He tried everything to pat it back into the pitch. But England play really well when they go direct. They look to play second phase rugby instead of trying to go around this Welsh side.
Peter Fox there, and it's a big day for Kevin Waters in York, because he has got both his godsons playing here this evening. Peter Fox in the England side and Ross Devorty making his debut in the Welsh side. So one very proud man in York, Kevin Waters. In fact, Peter Fox is also Kevin's nephew. There's no question of divided loyalties, though. He's very much on the side of the English here this evening.
Surrender.
Wales in possession, just inside their own 40. Here is Geraint Davis, and Davis doesn't make much progress there. Ellis in with the tackle, had a great season with the West Tigers, Ellis, their player of the year. And that is some achievement. to go there and stamp your mark in the NRL like that. But here come Wales trying to stamp their mark with Anthony Blackwood. Blackwood, good run from him. Oh, and then the referee pings him for obstruction there.
That's a sign of a confidence side. They looked up this Wales side, and this is what you've got to look at the way that they're playing. They're looking up, they're saying that England, they're really condensed. They're coming up with some wide plays to try and get on the outside of them. But then they give the penalty away. But England are really up for this. They've only made, in 3 tackles then leading up to that, 8 metres. They're really getting off the line and trying to force the header from this Wales side.
Monsieur Alibert not giving the Welsh much latitude this evening. Here is Hyam now. Hyam looking to duck under the tackle. But across came Jordan James to make it. Westwood, the pass from Tompkins almost beat him. Flower in strongly just to complete the tackle there for Wales. Hyam, Tompkins now. Here is Myler. Myler, a little skip and a step from him and then finds Ellis. Ellis couldn't get the ball away. Hyam sizing up the landscape. Finds Morley. Morley was looking to turn and pass that ball. On the last. Tompkins. Back with Tompkins. Tompkins puts a little kick in. Oh, it's back to 1, and it'll be a try in the corner. And it's Burgess, I think he'll claim it. It's awarded instantly. And another mistake from the Welsh, and you can't afford to make mistakes like that against top-class opposition like this England team. And again, they pounced on the loose ball, and Sam Burgess gets his second England try with that one.
And again, Sam Tompkins, you can see that he looks up here, gets the ball back, he's looking what he can do with it. What's on? There's nothing on that side. The only way that I'm going to beat him is put a neat little kick in. The mistake from the Welsh side, Sam Burgess pounces on that ball. But again, it's all about taking the ball to the line. What's on for me? There's nothing on there, I'll dink a little kick in. Who's alert? Sam Burgess is there for the mistake. This is all about reading the plays and just looking up and playing what's in front of you. Sam Tompkins looked up, he's seen that they were really short out wide. The mistake was there by Elliot Kerr, and Sam Burgess picks that ball up and goes in for the try.
Likes the loose forward rolls, Sam Burgess. Yep. Obviously keeps a tally of his international tries. I think Terry O'Connor used to do that as well. Ran out of fingers in the end.
I actually do keep a track of Sam Burgess' tries. Is that what you mean?
Of course, your international glory days.
You know, they got there in the end, but they've almost butchered that. They went about it the hard way. They scored off a mistake from the Welsh winger, but they had some numbers at the start. I think Sam has probably picked the wrong pass there. He's gone short when the winger had flown in. He might have needed to go over the top of him.
Sykes then, another difficult one from way out wide, and one that he's missed again, pulled that one. But England gradually taking a grip on this game. 20 points to 4 now, they lead. It's hard to imagine that they were 4-0 down here early on. A bit of a sluggish start from England, but they've got more and more pace about their game as the game has gone on and as Wales have tired.
You're right, Brian was absolutely spot on when he's gone through that scenario on the England right flank there. The shape and structure was all over the place. It was the wrong pass, and England are just simply too good and made the best of a kick fumble as they step up a couple of gears. But that's what this game is all about tonight, having a look at reviews of that situation on videos and trying to work out how you can come up with better shape and structure, getting the right guy in the right hole and hitting him with the right pass. They didn't get it right then, and they were too good and got away with a try.
Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, try scorer already this evening, plays the ball just on his own 30-metre line, and good speed about the England side now. Things starting to click a bit. Hyam up the middle, gets the pass away, and Louis is the first to react. 4 tackles gone. Hyam now. Mickey Hyam, who I think was one of the players who'll be discarded after this game, ahead of the 4 Nations. So it'll be thank you, Mickey, and good night. Hyam and several others. I think Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, another one of them, as the squad is then changed for the 4 Nations tournament. The Leeds and Saints players coming into the picture.
Now, they got to do better than that. They've got to come up with a better kick than that. They're heading into a Four Nations tournament where they're going to be tested by a lot better teams, and getting chances and coming up with kicks like that, they're going to get punished. They're going to have better wingers returning the ball than that, and you don't want a little chip kick like that.
Here is Ian Watson. Wales really been under cosh for the last 20 minutes or so as Flower plays that ball. Here is Watson, who'll be at Swinton next season in a coaching capacity, and the kick just turns Paul Sykes around now. Good chase from the Welsh to put Fox under pressure, but Fox gets away from the first wild challenge from Blackwood.
And if you come out of the line like that, you've got to make sure that you wrap that tackle up. And you can see you watching now, when he gets on, all he'll be doing is turning this England side around. He'll be kicking third, he'll be kicking fourth, really trying to disrupt them, and he's trying to disrupt people like Sam Tomkins.
Tomkins always looking for the opportunity there. And here is O'Loughlin. Playing in this centre's role, Sean O'Loughlin. On the halfway line.
And you've got to give some praise to this Welsh side. This Welsh side have really stood up. They've took the game to this England side in the forwards, and they've not lied down. They're coming up with some big shots, and they're really playing for each other.
But Burgess was able to get that ball away. Not so Carvel, that's the 5th tackle. What's the kick going to be like? Oh, it's not a good pass, and it's knocked on by Ellis, and just a little bit scrappy from England there.
And is that simply because the pressure that this Wales side are putting on England? They're looking for that play, they're looking to go down the short side, trying to exploit this Welsh defence. Every challenge that England have thrown at this Wales side, I know the scoreline's 20 points to 4, but they seem to be sticking in there. They're answering the challenges, they're coming up, they're backing each other, and they're turning up for each other defensively and offensively.
It'll be interesting to see now whether the Welsh just change tactics or they still try, and they're doing it, they're trying to run round the English side. Every time they've tried it so far in this game, the ball has hit the floor. So whether they're going to change tack now as that the first half comes to an end, I just think they might have to go a little bit tighter to the ruck and put some of those big English forwards under a little bit more pressure.
Good work from Lloyd White there, good run from him, and a good run from Blackwood just preceded that. He left Peter Fox on the ground. Credit to Fox, though, he got back on his feet and came back to make the tackle. Now here's Jordan James, and James still going strong.
That's the play, that's the play.
And that's what you want. He's earned his side a penalty there because he just played direct. Gareth Ellis had to try and control that play by putting his hands in, because all that happened there, Jordan James took the ball, he ran as straight as hard as he could, he was getting up to play the ball, and he lost the ruck. It's as simple as that.
So Wales still showing plenty of spirit here, despite the fact that this first half has gone away from them. The hooter sounds, but Wales have decided that they're going to try and get something out of this before they leave the field. And they'll go for goal, and it'll be Lloyd White who'll have a crack at it from 40 metres or so.
And I think that's the tactics for the Welsh coaching staff to have a look at and speak to their players about during the half-time break. They've tried to move it wide, they just simply haven't been good enough. They are a very inexperienced side, put together at quite late notice, lots of withdrawals. England very good, very dominant going forward at the ruck, so just spin the psychology around, go at their men who are doing damage to you, and that would be the middle field.
Lloyd White then with this penalty, has he kicked it? He has. So a satisfying end to the first half of the Wales side, with White on his debut, landing that penalty for Iestyn Harris's side. A bit for him to think about his debut as well tonight, of course, for